What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Superherocuts. I want to say a shout out to all my haters. I know you're watching. Stevie, what's good?
What's up, bro?
What's up? We're going to run through the docket real quick. We got Chris Evans, rumored to be in Fantastic Four. Superman promo for CinemaCon is released. Haley Atwell in talks to reprise her role as Captain Carter. Big Avengers Doomsday news. You already seen the chairs. We're going to talk about the chairs. Bradley Cooper cast as Jor-El in Superman. Marvel Studios putting extra projects on hold. Chameleon rumored to be the main villain in Spider-Man 4, who has the best superhero suit. We're going to have some fun with that one. Which villain would you fight in a 1v1 and why? You're going to get an answer from me and then from Stevie or vice versa, whichever. Will Batman cameo in Superman? That's the rumor. And Tom Hardy speaks on why the Venom Spider-Man crossover never happened, which brings us to another rumor that they are going to bring Venom to Spider-Man 4, and it's not going to be Tom Hardy's Venom. So we got a lot to get into. Stevie, how you doing?
Good, brother. Bro, I am ready to record. We have a full freaking docket today, and it might be extending as we are recording because if you guys don't know, CinemaCon is happening. So as we speak, so as news comes out, we're kind of going to be just adding it on and just talking about it the second it comes out. So, but bro, how was your weekend?
It was great.
Good, bro.
Yeah, hung out with some friends, some family. You know,
Good.
how was yours?
Good, bro. It's good, man.
Good.
Love the Fantastic Four hat. But by the way, if you guys follow me on TikTok, you've seen it already. But that joint's fire. Big fan. Okay. So we're going to get right into it today. So this was a very interesting one. And it's funny because at first I didn't even want to report it because it came from a page that I hate because they always put out fake news. And then what's funny is a bunch of people that I respect started saying the same things. I was like, okay, we need to talk about it. So Chris Evans will reportedly appear in an unknown role in the Fantastic Four First Steps.
I think it's important we give the context of this post because everyone seemed to have taken that's what he meant, but Alex Perez from Cosmic Circus posted a GIF, one of those videos like short without sound to social media, GIF, and it was just of Chris Evans, Captain America. You didn't even see his face, but he was just kind of flashing the shield, and all of a sudden everyone was like, oh my God, Christopher, that was kind of whack. I was trying to do the Steve Carell thing. Like, oh my God, it's happening. And I sounded kind of sus doing it. So, yeah. So the haters can hate that one. But anyway, we are going to talk about this because I don't know if that's necessarily what he meant. But I did 2 TikToks on it. I think Stevie did a TikTok on it. TikTok, Mr. Clock. What do you think, Stevie?
So this is very interesting, bro, because I think that it could mean 2 things, right? It could mean one that we are getting Captain America popping up in the Fantastic Four, and this could feed a known kind of rumor that's going on. And the rumor that is going on is that some of the variants of Steve Rogers, some of the variants of Steve Rogers will be kind of popping up, trying to fake as the MCU Captain America, but they're actually a bad guy. So like that, it could feed that tale, right? But then it could also feed the other tale of, as of what you talked about first, which was the Johnny Storm variant. You know what I mean? And when you posted it, it really made me think about a lot of things. But I want you to get into your Johnny Storm variant stuff first, and then I'll kind of feed off you because that was your idea. So
I am going to talk about it briefly now, but when we get into the chairs, I am going to break down a big theory of mine. Okay. If you follow me on socials, which if you watch the show, you should follow me on social because I like to have fun. And on Threads, my people are starting to find me. At first it was just a bunch of intellectual inferiors. Now it's intellectual inferiors and real fans. So anyway, here's the thing. I think that it's very possible we're going to see Chris Evans in Fantastic Four. I almost don't want to. It's not that I'm opposed to him coming back to the MCU again. I just want the Fantastic Four to be established, standing on their own without the help of Chris Evans. However, it's possible we see him as Johnny Storm or as Steve Rogers, because here's the thing. We know that a portion of this movie is going to take place in the 60s. Steve Rogers, he's the first Avenger, World War II, 1940-something. So it could make sense that in the universe that we're going, where the Fantastic Four, there is a Steve Rogers. Although I do think that they have kind of established through some of the rumors in the leaks that there's not really superheroes in the Fantastic Four universe for the Fantastic Four First Steps. And that's why they're so famous and so beloved, because they're the only ones. They're really Imaginauts, not really superheroes, but that's a whole other story. Now, it's also possible we could see a Johnny Storm variant, and we're going to see Chris Evans as the Human Torch, like we saw him last summer in Deadpool Wolverine. I think it's anyone's guess. I don't understand. Thank you, Chigs. We appreciate you. I don't understand, like, if someone were to tell me, oh, I think it's this or that or one of the two, I would ask them, well, what makes you believe that? Because a lot of times people have like crazy theories, or I don't really know. And I'll just be like, well, what makes you believe that? And I think it's a fair question, because, you know, what would make someone believe something like, and that's what I want to know. So, because I don't see something that would make me so confident that it's one or versus the other.
100%. And that's kind of where I'm at too, bro, because when I think of Johnny Storm, by the way, hold on, we got to stop the show real quick. Hold on. We have our first member. Smiles Frown. Welcome to
what
the Superhero.
A first member.
So basically, we have memberships, basically where they get kind of like extra content versus what you're already going to get. So stuff that you're not going to see on the regular.
Make extra comment.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Frown.
So
Thank you,
Frown. Welcome. You are our first member. We just want to shout you out, bro. Just gotta say this real fast, bro. You know, there's a lot of work that gets put into this channel. Jerry is researching weekly on comics, and he's getting me into it. Him and I talk every day. We're obsessed with this. We love this ish, bro. So, and we don't do this for finances. So
nobody reads more comics than I do.
Exactly. So, bro, we just want to say thank you for joining, and bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. And Chigs, bro, we will always remember you on the way up, dog. We will always remember you on the way up, bro. Yeah, we are not these fake losers that get something and then they forget. No. We will always
watch the show. You know what we don't do? We don't cape. And the more time I spend in the space, the more I realize how much everyone capes. And there's nothing I hate more than someone who capes, because someone who capes is someone who is not honest to you. They believe they're entitled to your time and to waste your time to shove their bias down your throat. And that shit is so corny. You know me. I have my favorites, but I'll always take a step back and give you my objective analysis.
100%. All right. Let's talk about this Johnny Storm thing. So the only way in my mind that I can see Johnny Storm kind of happening is because we are like, there's that running theory, right, about the fact that the Earth that this Fantastic Four is on is going to be completely chalked. And it's like, the only way I see the Johnny Storm coming is from another Earth. Like, his Earth is destroyed and he pops up on their planet for a second. And then we get to see something like that happen. Or even, I mean, look, when it comes to variants, right, it can be anybody. So he could be freaking the president of the USA. We really, like, Chris Evans could be anyone. So it's,
he could be, you know, the Joe Biden looking Steve Rogers, but he's not going to fall asleep on screen.
Yeah. Or he can even look like Trump. Who knows, bro? Add some weight to him. You never know, man. So
funny you say that, because Sebastian Stan played Trump in, I think it was called The Apprentice or something.
Dude, he almost won a Oscar, right?
Yeah, I'm shocked he did it. I thought they were going to give it to him just because they were like making.
I heard that performance was great.
Really?
Anyway, yeah. I heard it was really good. But yeah, bro. So the fact that if Chris Evans does pop up in this film, it would be fun. and I think will be super dope. So I hope to see him in this. And look, some people are talking Council Reed, some people are talking all this other stuff. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen, right? But we can give you context in the comics about the whole Council of Reeds thing. So, now if the Council of Reeds was to happen, right? I'm not going to lie to you, and that's where I'm going to go. I think we're getting a little far fetched here, because
it's too big, too soon. I'd love to see it, but I think it would be a mistake to do the Council of Reeds in this movie. I really do.
Exactly, bro. And also, bro, it's kind of too much to cover when you have all these other three characters plus Galactus and Franklin and Silver Surfer. There's a lot of other, like, a lot of ground that they have to cover in this world, and not to mention, bro, they have to introduce us into this world too. So that's a lot to do when you, in a matter of 2 hours and in some change. That's a lot of work to do. But all in all, I love the idea that they're talking about this. So super happy about that. All right. Were there any other thoughts that you had?
Not really. I think we should go into the chairs after this, though.
Oh, you want to hit the chairs right now? Let's hit the chairs.
Yeah, just because we're already in Marvel.
Let's hit the chairs. Let's hit the chairs. Okay, so Avengers Doomsday casting announcement, afterthoughts. Obviously, I don't know why I did this, but I did like a 4-hour and 45-minute stream. Shout out to Derpy. Shout out to Derpy for joining me in those 4 hours of chaos and freaking torment of watching the chairs. I crashed out when Shuri was talked about, but it was a fun time. It was a fun time. But let's talk about the aftermath of this, Jerry. How are you feeling about this? What are some thoughts you have? We'll love to hear your thoughts.
I got to tell you, the second they started getting to the X-Men names, I started my excitement started to wane down. I don't like that all the old X-Men are coming back, and now I'm really torn because, and don't get me wrong, I love the old X-Men movies. I grew up on those. I still think it's going to be a good movie. It's just like, I feel like, and this is something I have been vocal about for a long time, that I think that the fandom is too geeked out on cameo porn. And I think that I think I love No Way Home, but I have problems with No Way Home. I like Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't love it as much as everyone else. And I think that when you look at the Multiverse Saga, those are the two movies that are like undeniable bangers that were received well largely by the fandom. And that's how I'm calling them a banger. And it's like I think Marvel feels like the only way that they could be successful is if they bring back the cameo porn. And that's what they're doing. And they're like going all out on the cameo porn. I don't care what the creative reason they're going to use to do it. To me, it's a business decision. And like I said last week, movies is where commerce and art meet. Both are equally as important. And I feel like the business of this is a bigger part of the decision than the art of it. And it leads me to my big theory that involves Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans.
Let me hear it.
If they are going all the way back to the early 2000s and bringing back the Fox X-Men, and they're already still working with Chris Evans, we saw him last summer, and they already are paying Robert Downey Jr. $100 million.
Yeah.
There is not a shot in hell we are not going to see Iron Man and Captain America again. I'm calling it right now. It's 100%. I would bet the house on it. We're going to see them both. And I'm torn because on one hand, I'm like, this cameo porn stuff is annoying. And I don't like that fans aren't really bought into the Multiverse Saga. Like when I go to watch an MCU movie, you know what I don't think about watching? Something after Endgame, other than No Way Home. Okay? Maybe once in a while, Deadpool and Wolverine. But that's it. That's really it. It's like the same way I am when I watch a Batman movie. I don't watch any. If it's pre-Nolan, it's not even part of my decision. And, I'm torn because when I think about it like that, I'm like, well, what the hell? Like, yeah, is the movie gonna suck without Iron Man? Because at that point, you may as well fucking bring him back. But at the same time, it's like, fuck that, man. Because if you could bring Iron Man back, and I know you could say, oh, it's a variant. No, bro, the entire Infinity Saga ended with the emotional death that it did because they killed off Iron Man in the most legendary way. And the second you bring him back, you're undoing all of that. And it's fucking corny. And like, you're breaking all your rules. And if you could make a move like that and it has no consequences, does anything that happened in the MCU even matter anymore? It's fucking corny. And I'm annoyed with it. I really am. But at the same time, I'm like, is Doomsday going to suck if you don't have Iron Man? Like, what the hell? So, you know, and I got to tell you, like, and I love Robert Downey Jr., but when he like got up and made that face from the chair, I was just like, does he really feel that way about it? Or is he doing that because he's getting $100 million? Because I don't feel that way about it. Like, I don't feel like this was like the what's up moment that he seemed to be saying it was with his face and his body language. And I know RDJ is a real guy. So I don't think that he thought that. And I think he's putting on the act because he's getting 100 mil. 100 mil is a lot of money, bro. And if I were Robert Downey Jr., I would not give a shit.
Listen, I'll be smiling too.
But guess what? I'm not getting paid $100 million for that. I am building a podcast because, and on this podcast, one of the things that I hope we are appreciated for is always keeping it 100 with you guys. And that is why I'm going to say it. I'm never going to fucking cape about anything. And that's how I feel.
Yeah. So I am, by the way, takes a lot to say that. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of balls to say that because a lot of people won't say how they feel in a real way.
I don't even think it takes balls. It's just fucking being
real.
No,
you're either real or not. I'm saying, bro. It takes for some. I'm telling you, for some of these people I watch, it takes a lot to say that. So I personally, I did like these announcements, and this is obviously just showing the people that they have signed away and confirmed, and it's pretty much it's pretty obvious that they're still working on deals with other characters because they are filming for the next darn near like 6 months. Yeah. So they're obviously working out a lot of deals. I do not like though how a lot of people think that the nostalgia is bad for Marvel films, and I think that a lot of people forget that we are in the multiversal saga. And yes, Marvel hasn't done some of it right, but there's been one common theme throughout the multiversal saga, and it is really that, you know, a lot of these movies are honoring the past and also looking into the future. And that future obviously is the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and all of these other characters. And just because Marvel Studios has done some things wrong in regards to nostalgia baiting, it doesn't necessarily mean that using nostalgia in its right form is necessarily a bad thing. And it also doesn't mean that bringing back the OG X-Men is a weakness, because nostalgia done right, it does things. I think it does a lot of things for the fandom, and we have seen nostalgia done right. I think that Deadpool and Wolverine was nostalgia done right in an amazing way, because it honored Wolverine, but it also honored all of the other Marvel legends where their movies are kind of like scraped over. Like, I don't hear a lot of people talking about Blade. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like it honored that, and we even got to see in Spider-Man No Way Home how having the OG Spider-Man, as in Toby, and we got the Skater Boy Spider-Man, and like Andrew, it was able to unite fans. And with that ending, seeing Spider-Man's costume and seeing the you know, the type of place he's in, is the type of place that he is in life, it also mirrors what him and his variants went through. And it also gets, you know, old fans excited, but it also gets MCU fans hyped too, and it just unites us. And I believe that having the OG X-Men for a time in this movie can be fun. And, you know, obviously there's a rumor going around, and it's pretty much like obvious that with X-Men, right? Look, we all know that Monica Rambeau is on another Earth. That Earth is going to collide with our MCU, most likely because she's on it. And the rumors that, that our OG X-Men team is going to come from, that Earth. And I think it will be very interesting to see the X-Men go against the team of heroes that we have. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think the OG X-Men is mopping our MCU Avengers roster right now. I'm not even going to hold you. I think they're mopping them easy. But I do think that it could be something cool. And also, I am also not opposed to the idea of having, Tony Stark and even, Captain America back, because I do think that they are pivotal points in this story in general. And I have told you from the start, bro, I never wanted Stark to die. I think that was one of the dumbest decisions ever. And I feel like, and I really think that you should have put them on ice, but you don't. But kind of like how they ended Captain America. That's how I think they should have done Iron Man. And like, I think you could have still got a epic ending with that happening. Because even if Tony Stark was like super like injured, he just could have been gone for a while, and then he comes back. So that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of these castings. I'm not against it because I can kind of see maybe like the vision that they are trying to build. And I also like the idea of like, when we get these characters back, they're going to get actual comic accurate costumes, and they're actually going to be led down a really good path to act very well, in these films. And you and I have talked about the fact that, these X-Men might be here for a short time in this film. Like, we don't expect these characters to be here all movie. So I think it's going to be fun. So I do have another rumor that was from Alex, and I wanted to talk to you about it because he talked about Iron Man and Doctor Doom.
I wanted to say something real quick about the nostalgia.
Hey, go ahead, brother.
I get that nostalgia is a big selling point, and I'm not against them using it, but the Multiverse Saga has pretty much been a flop of a saga. And I don't like that. Like, that's the one thing people are really interested in. I think it's a problem. I think it's a really big problem. And I agree. I'm torn on the Tony Stark death because right at that moment, I was like, that's a mistake. That's a mistake but it wasn't their choice at the time. Disney top brass didn't want to continue to pay RDJ, and RDJ didn't want to continue committing to the insane scheduling that he was on. Now, having said that, obviously they regretted that. Now they're offering him $100 million. But at the time, that was the logic behind it.
Yeah.
6 years ago. Here's the other thing. I think they could have gotten away with it if they did the Fantastic Four, the first movie. They should have done Fantastic Four and then Spider-Man, and boom. Or they 100%. Did do Spider-Man right away, but they gave us Far From Home, which is a palate cleanser, and you know how much I hate that term.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is a problem, and like, I'm gonna say it because I think it's a problem. I think it's really bad, and I think that the chair stunt was 100% nostalgia bait. That was the whole point of the thing. All it was nostalgic names. So like, that thing was 100% nostalgia.
So the thing that I don't understand with the fandom is that fandoms blame nostalgia, but we've only gotten, like, I'm trying to think in my mind, the only bad nostalgia content we got was one film, as in Doctor Strange. All of the other times that nostalgia was used, it works to actually serve the actual story. Mm-hmm. Like nostalgia isn't the main reason why this phase have failed. The main reason why this phase is doing bad is because, number one, they tried to politic us to death, and number two, they focused on characters that don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because like, when I think about the biggest grossing films, like Wakanda Forever, it's a shocker to even say that film grossed like almost the most in this saga. But like, they didn't use nostalgia. Like, when I think about the Deadpool and Wolverine, that worked. When I think about Spider-Man No Way Home, that worked. I mean, like, the only bad nostalgia film that a lot of people hate is Doctor Strange. And I would even argue that they only used one character for nostalgia, as in Professor X. All of those characters in the Illuminati were new characters.
But I think that's a incorrect assessment, because A lot of people said Deadpool and Wolverine was overrated and it was just nostalgia bait. And a lot of people criticized No Way Home for leaning into the nostalgia as hard as it did. And a lot of people think both of those movies are heavily overrated because of that. And I've seen people say on rewatch, Deadpool and Wolverine, it wasn't as good as the first time I saw it. So when I think of nostalgia and the Multiverse Saga, I don't even think of Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. I think that movie sucked because it was more important for them to have a diverse character be the center of the movie than it was for the title character to be the center of the movie. That's why that movie had a problem. I think that movie actually almost had a nice touch on nostalgia because it was so minor that like it wasn't really a big selling point. I think people had a problem with how fast the Illuminati was killed off, but I don't think that had anything to do with nostalgia. It was just like you brought all these cool characters into the movie and the movie sucked and we wanted to see more of that.
Yeah, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I think a lot of people that critique it, I do think some of it's honest, but like when a lot of y'all ninjas be on the internet hype about having 3 Spider-Mans and y'all be hype about Wolverine and Elektra, and then 2 months after you want to sit here and tell me it's trash, I think it's BS. You might have been the only person that was actually honest on the internet about it, bro. So, and like that's just my whole thing, bro. Like it's just that's why I don't buy it, bro. A lot of people want to take other people's thoughts, bro. You might have been the only person that actually spoke against it that I know.
There's a lot of people that see that's not. And while you could look down upon it, there are a lot of people who can't properly come up with their own thoughts, and then they hear other people's thoughts and they agree. That's why there are thought leaders. That's why there are politicians that change the game. That's how thought and like analysis works. So that I disagree with. You could look at it differently for someone being a thought leader and someone who came up with their own thoughts. That's why they get all the credit. That's why, people love certain politicians or thought leaders or whatever and despise others. But it doesn't invalidate the thought that people heard the thought and then agreed with it and didn't come up with it themselves. I really think that Marvel and Disney are like, we can't have these Avengers movies flop, and their safety net is the nostalgia and the cameo porn.
Yeah, I just think that nostalgia isn't as bad as what people say, and it's the multiversal saga. Like this is the time to do that. And I can understand what people say. Look, everybody uses the same excuse. They did on Social Security. Yes, they didn't. They didn't do a good job. So what do you expect them to do? Give us a freaking Avengers team with Ironheart, with freaking Agatha? Like what do you expect people to do? And that's kind of where I'm like, look, I'm cool with calling it out, but like people act like there's another option.
There's another option. They could use the Fantastic Four. They could have Doctor Strange. They could have Shang-Chi. There are other characters, and the characters they're going to build up through the Thunderbolts. There are other characters. It's not Iron Man and Captain America, but that's the consequence of Endgame. And the second you undo that consequence, it's like, well, does anything else you do after that matter? Because if the consequences don't mean anything, your universe doesn't mean anything.
And I think that might be the crutch that live action movies will always have to deal with forever. Unless if they don't kill off their characters and they just kind of put them on ice and then you get like a recast or something. You know what I'm saying?
They never killed off James Bond until No Time to Die. They never did it. And like, these are the types of consequences that you have to have. And, that's why I love what they did with Martin Campbell and like Casino Royale.
Yeah.
The first James Bond movie, they got him his 2 kills, which made him officially licensed a 00 agent. Yeah. And they saw him fall in love and get totally played, even though the bitch was sympathetic about it. He was like, and I didn't mean to use that word to be offensive. That's how Bond referred to her. So that's where I was going with it. Yeah. And he was like, the bitch is dead. He said that to M at the end of the movie. And that's how James Bond became James Bond. And like that made sense. And then it's like, oh, okay, you're killing off Daniel Craig because you're doing a soft reboot. That makes sense, you know. And I get it's the Multiverse Saga, but like if I've been saying it for years, they need to focus on having people invested into the story and not just on names. That's a problem.
Yeah. And and that's the sad part of it, bro, is that they fumbled and wasted their time doing pointless content that they can't really afford to do that. And now what they have to do is they have to trust and have faith in Pedro Pascal and his squad that the Fantastic Four will do the groundwork for that, sadly. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I go so hard on stupid decisions like female Silver Surfer. You know, like, because if you had characters the right way, like Norrin Rad or T'Challa, and you're not doing these stupid gender swaps, like maybe the MCU would be in better position. But when you make silly decisions like that, it makes me think that the decision making going on at the top of Marvel Studios is rotten. You have people making dumb decisions. And who makes dumb decisions? Dumb people. And what do you do when you have dumb people making dumb decisions? You get them make smart decisions, or you get different people.
100%. 100%. And this is why we get frustrated when you can't make a Blade project, but you can make a 7 or you can make an 8 episode act of the show. You know,
that is so insane.
Think about that, bro.
If they had Blade right now, like, I'm not saying Blade would make all the difference, but it would definitely make a difference because people would be hyped as fuck about Blade. I gotta stop cursing, but people would be super hyped about Blade. He's not gonna be like making a big dent on Secret Wars, but it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, even think about this, right? Like, I would rather watch a Nova show, and I think Nova should have been introduced in the Infinity Saga. Topic for another day. But I would rather watch a Nova show than an Ironheart show. And I have no beef with MCU Ironheart, but just saying, saying,
I don't like Nova that much. And you know what they should do, by the way, with Nova? And this is going to be a hot take. They should completely reinvent his outfit, because his outfit is corny. When people tell me like Nova is Marvel's version of the Green Lantern, it's like
that's worthy of a crash out.
Yeah. It's like, I get it. He's their intergalactic space corps, but like, bro, Green Lantern is one of the GOATs, and Nova isn't even an afterthought.
I agree. Yeah. If the MCU does go all in, they have to redo the costume, bro. They have to.
That costume is so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I would love for them. Quick off topic. I would love for them to take. I love Blue Marvel's costume because it's kind of simple. I would love for them to take a little bit of inspiration of that and give that for like a Nova, or you make it super tactical. You know what I mean?
By the way, did you read Dr. Doom by Christopher Cantwell?
I don't think so.
I told you, bro, that shit is so sick. Christopher Cantwell is one of the best up-and-coming writers right now.
Really?
Yeah. His Iron Man run, his Dr. Doom run, this guy does not play games.
Really?
But in the Dr. Doom run, Blue Marvel is sick. Like, sick.
Check that out.
Yeah. And both of those runs are modern. So, like, the art is incredible. The writing is super advanced. They're both, like, I think the Iron Man run might have started in like 2019 or 2020, but it probably went until 2022. And Dr. Doom, I think, is from 2019. So they're both like super evolved, like up to state of the art style writing. I definitely recommend it. But like Blue Marvel would be cool.
And Comics Explained loves him, bro.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Blue Marvel. They don't do a lot with him though. You know. That would be a cool addition too. And here's the other thing. And I believe in representation, right? And I don't think it's a good thing that, and you know me, I'm not woke or anything like that, but I do think that, you know, but just because the woke people like something doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. And representation is important because when you have number one, when you have kids that can't like buy a toy that looks like them that they could look up to, I think that's really important. I think it's really messed up if it's not that way. But in terms of a business side, I think that's part of the reason that Black Panther was so successful. So like Marvel is stupid to, number one, not recast T'Challa, and like they should have brought in Blue Marvel at least by like they should have fast tracked special presentation or something, because they don't have. Do they have a black male hero in the MCU at all right now? I don't think they do.
I don't think so, dude.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And yet you have people on Threads, the app of intellectual inferiors, who will be like, "Oh, you can't recast." Like, what are you talking about?
And like, no, and like, this is just facts. And like, I have a niece, so I know no little girls are gonna run to watch Ironheart, and that's just facts. Like, my niece is in her princess era, bro. Like, she's obsessed with Elsa. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's just the reality. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta.
She had an older brother that was like into Marvel. Like when, you know, my sister, she's seen more James Bond than anyone else. Okay, like, you know, but if she didn't have me as an older brother, she wouldn't. Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's read some chats. All right, we're going to start at TikTok first, and we'll work our way down to YouTube. So I'll bet the house. I'll bet my house.
Captain America. That was stupid. How do we forget that?
Wait, what happened?
They have Sam as Captain America.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Where's some? Well, how do we forget that?
I know.
I'll bet my house OG Cap appears. They ain't bringing Chris Evans back without that. Yo, what if old man Steve appears? That'll be funny. I'm hearing that Spider-Verse is coming out in 2027. What? Okay. They've been
hear that. Ask him where he heard that.
Oh, Alex from the Cosmic Circus. Okay. He tweeted it. Yep. But it isn't confirmed yet. They've been hinting at bringing Cap back, saying he's living on the moon, bringing him up over and over. I don't think they said that though in the MCU, because I would have remembered that if they said he's on the moon. Let's see, dude. It's the Multiverse Saga. They can do variants for Tony. They can do variants for Tony. But if you were to do a variant for Tony, wouldn't you want to get another actor?
But still, it's like, even though it's a variant, at the end of the day, that death had such big consequences that, like, if you could just bring someone in through the multiverse, that death is now made insignificant, and it makes you not really believe in deaths that haven't happened yet in the MCU, because we could kill off this big character, but then when we need him again for the business reason, we could just bring him in through the multiverse. Because guess what? You know what's still going to exist when it's not the multiversal saga? The multiverse. It's not like the multiverse just dies.
Yeah.
So it's still stupid.
Exactly. And that's how we just cooked the idea to kill him off from the start. Just such a dumb idea. At Superherocuts, what is your favorite comic book? That's a good question. Jerry, do you have a favorite off the top of your head? Go ahead.
Bro, Hickman Avengers Saga, no question.
Yeah, Hickman Avengers, and if we're gonna be like very coy, I'm gonna say New Avengers. That's my favorite run. That's my favorite comic of all time.
I say the whole saga.
Yeah, I could read it. I could read it like every week, and it was still it'd be the same.
What's funny is about 10 or 11 days ago, I started reading Fantastic Four by Hickman. For the third time. That thing is like 70 something issues total, I think. Yeah. And I am like 8 issues away from done with it. Okay. Dude. And I still am enjoying it as if I never fucking read it.
Dude, what is up with you, bro?
Yeah, dude. Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I will also say what is growing on me too is Batman New 52 Court of Owls.
Oh, that's so good. That's the run that got me into comics.
Yeah, that's been that low-key got a chokehold on me. Okay, let's see what else we got. Then we'll get now let's get to YouTube. Let's get to YouTube comments. Thanks for reading the chats. Of course, bro, that's what we do, bro. They need to introduce the Fantastic Four before doing anything crazy. Like they already are doing Galactus. Focus on that. That would be crazy. 12 minutes per chair, bro. If more felt like 30 per chair, bro. Yeah. Honestly. I assume that the X-Men universe will be the equivalent of the Ultimate Universe.
100%. What he means is in the first issue of Secret Wars, the final incursion takes place.
Oh yeah,
and it's between the main universe, the 616, which is going to be the MCU universe, and the Ultimates universe, which is the 1610. So instead of the 1610, it's going to be the Fox X-Men universe. And he's 100% right. That's what I think. That's what anyone who reads the comics and knows what they're talking about thinks.
Let's get it. The universe crashes into the 616. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen. It is Secret Wars, a multiverse story, though makes sense that they would try to get everyone in as possible facts. Hold on. News for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Wait, let me see. Oh my god, bro, they just play with me. They said news for the Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. It is expected to drop. Okay, never mind. It isn't out yet. So I have every notification turned on. So like we're just to make sure. Marvel Studios play it safe with Avengers Doomsday casting. This film is going to make money. I would say that bringing on the X-Men is not playing it safe. If they were going to play it safe, they would just bring back the OG group of the Avengers.
I think the whole retro cameo thing is playing it safe because they aren't confident in their own universe.
I think it's fire. I love it. Marvel took a real gamble with the Doomcasting. Facts they did. But when you see RDJ act,
I don't think it was a gamble.
But when you see RDJ act, you're gonna be like, I see why. Because he's gonna cook. I understand you want Marvel Studios to make good films. This is a business. You have to make money in order to survive.
I responded to that. And I wrote, because I wanted everyone who's watching the comments to see it. I basically said, Kevin, you missed the point. I said that movies are art means commerce. It's a 50-50 relationship. Commerce also means business. So it's a symbiotic thing. And if a decision is made and it's a big decision and it's based on business, you're compromising and sacrificing the art for the business.
Yep. And I will also say it's saying things is really fun, but they could kill with the writing and they could tell a compelling story that could change people's minds. So
saying things is fun.
No, I'm saying like on paper, things can look shifty, right? But if they really kill it with writing and they actually give us a compelling story, I think that it can really change a lot of people's minds on the way that it is shown. But what a lot of fans have to understand, which I cannot argue against this point, even though I like it, we did not earn this, and that's where I think most of the issue comes from. Like the
publicity stunt in the movie.
Yeah, the actual story that was being built through the Multiverse Saga, we didn't earn this moment, and that's why a lot of fans feel this way. You know what I'm saying? Because like you guys have to understand, right? Endgame was an earned story for us, and even the Fantastic Four, to me, feels earned because we should have gotten that a while ago. But when you just randomly announce a bunch of X-Men, and this is me talking from the other side, it just doesn't feel earned in the story. So I understand why Jerry is, not feeling it. You know what I mean? Even though I don't agree.
The other thing, by the way, and this is why I think they're all going to die. We know the Mutant Saga is coming after Secret Wars, right? If the Mutant Saga is coming and we're getting a new cast of X-Men, they got to kill off the Fox X-Men. It's going to be a send-off. They are 100% all dying.
Oh, yeah.
Take it to the bank.
Oh, yeah. They're going to check. And I think I'll tell you saying we are both going to laugh when they die. Deadpool and Wolverine, which is a fun popcorn film, but not the best out of the Deadpool franchise.
And like I said in the comments, every movie is a popcorn movie because, newsflash, they sell popcorn at every movie.
Great comeback. Fans have been complaining and calling everything what? AE? I don't know what that means.
A Disney release. I think he's like making fun of movies being more Disney than they are Marvel. I could be wrong, but
okay. Iron Man dying made sense in a story way, but not Yes, and that's what, and the Russos have said that, like they said that when they do these films, their mindset is how do we tell the next story? They don't think about after, because they're only getting hired to do these films. Now, the things might change because the Russos are rumored to be a part of the onboarding of
I
the
hope
new
so.
X-Men. So the way that they might handle Doomsday and Secret Wars can be very different than what we've seen with
It's kind of
Endgame.
like, to me, with Marvel and the Russos, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that they just have a way of doing things with the MCU that's different than everyone else. And sometimes there's just like a there's just a team that works, and when you change that, it doesn't. Like the Air Jordans, bro. Tinker Hatfield designed everything from the 3 to the 15. And yeah, the 15 was whack, but it just worked. And I think they need to keep the Russos on board. I also think that with Endgame and killing off Iron Man, you also have to understand that the Russos, like Stevie was saying, they were brought on to do Infinity War and Endgame after the couple that they already did. And when they made that decision for Iron Man to die in Endgame, they weren't hired to do the movies after Endgame. So they didn't have to worry about those consequences. And they were able to make those big decisions knowing that Endgame is their name on the line. The future is not. And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying it is what it is. And I think, I don't know why. I feel like his name is bulletproof and it really shouldn't be. And I'm not saying I don't think he's done a bad job at all, but he's definitely done a bad job with the Multiverse Saga. And the truth of the matter is that Kevin Feige did not have a solid plan in place for the Multiverse Saga. And I think we need to start talking about that.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Things happen too fast, and
he should have planned it. I mean, bro, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, like he should have flooded that shit right after Endgame.
Yeah, I also think that it also could have been executives wanting him to expand the content too. And because I think expanding the content is also what hurt him. And the reality is you could have taken advantage of COVID and taken a year to 2-year break to actually plan it out. And you could have done you could have done a one-off Deadpool film at that point. You know what I mean? It's just to keep it like rolling in, but there should have been a time gap to plan for sure.
I also think part of that, and I still think he messed up on this aspect though, but I do think part of it that probably made it more challenging for him was part of that expansion was Disney Plus. But like that doesn't, you made the worst decisions for who got a Disney Plus show. I mean, if we look at all the Disney Plus shows that we got, it's crazy how many characters that like, bro, if a character's comics don't sell, like maybe put them in a movie first and test them. And,
like Falcon.
I don't even think that's the worst of them. I don't like the creative decisions and the politics of
Falcon and the
Winter Soldier, but I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier were worthy of a show.
Yeah, that was
I liked Ms. Marvel. I don't think she was worthy of the show. I don't think Echo was worthy of the show. Agatha wasn't worthy of the show. I'm not as big on Wanda as everyone else, but she's definitely worthy of the show. Like she's got a solid fan base. I didn't like the show, but I still think like it was a win for a lot of people. So I don't knock it in that way.
Yeah.
It's just not my personal taste. Again, kind of stepping out of my bias and just looking at things objectively. I'm going to start giving myself credit for that because apparently not everyone notices that I do that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to like obscure Feige. Feige is wrong for this whole thing. And you've told me this months ago. And I think it's when we were talking about some company that was going down and you said this quote, you're like, as the leader, when things go down, it's on you.
Yeah.
If Feige is the leader, it's on him. So this is his fault. No matter if he made these decisions or not, you are the guy. And so now we're in this predicament now.
Yeah. Because even if someone else made the decision, like you are overseeing that. And it's like when things go bad, it's like people are like, "Oh, you can't blame my president." Like, bro, that's how it works. Okay, if you're coaching a team and you lose the game, yes, as the coach, you get mad at the other, but like the GM and the owner, they're gonna be mad at you.
100%.
It's just how it works.
Exactly. So, no, we are definitely gonna hold him accountable here in the show. All right, let's see next comment here. The real test will be after the Multiverse Saga. Will they still do nostalgia bait like that, bro? Honestly, they won't. They won't need to, because we're gonna have the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and they're obviously going to get that Blade movie going. And they honestly, guys, I think they should recast Blade, but we'll talk about that on another topic here. I hope for the Mutant Saga they will be able to focus on new characters. People actually give crap about that. Facts. Blade will never come out, right? Nova is the bootleg Green Lantern of Marvel. I mean, come on, Green Lantern Corps and the Nova Corps, right? Sad to say this, but with some folks rooting for certain things to fail from Marvel Studios, they're never going to take risk again because of this issue. I do not agree. All it takes is for them to get on another good run, and we will see another risk.
And people with balls need to be there.
Yeah.
Like people who have the balls to tell stories the way Jonathan Hickman does.
Yep. I just got here and I feel like I missed the epic rant of the Doomsday Cast. But best believe that clip will be out tomorrow. Don't worry. Don't worry.
By the way, Hungry, it was dope seeing you on Slab's show.
That's fire. Let's get it. It's crazy how much Disney cares about representation, but get rid of T'Challa and the biggest and most popular Black hero ever. Facts.
Yep.
You're not wrong about that. And bro, what is what is also wild, and I'm gonna say a really deep thought without actually getting into it. The battle isn't the battle isn't towards the people that you think it is. We're just being snubbed. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Anyways,
I don't get what you mean.
Is that a lot of it's I feel like a lot of people use Black representation as a scapegoat to not address the real actual problem. And the real actual problem lies with a certain type of people. And I'm just leave it at that. Because I had an interesting convo with a couple of people who lie in some other places of our culture and world, and I found some really interesting things. We'll talk more off air. But even if I
want to hear about this,
we will. Once you hear it, you'll be like, yeah. But even if Ironheart and Wonder Man storytelling is decent or good, folks already minds and not give a chance at all. What? I think you're just saying that fans won't care, and you are right. You are right. Diverse characters have to happen naturally. They can't feel shoehorned in. Facts. They have Sam as Captain America, which is great. Get Brother Voodoo in here. All right, guys. We're going to speed through these chats because we have a whole docket. We can't be here all night. Folks were rooting for certain things that failed at Disney. I don't blame Disney for pulling back, stop showing all. They're not pulling back, bro. Even if Ironheart and Wonder Man storytelling is decent and good, folks' minds already made up. Okay, that is probably true. But people said that for Agatha, and fans shut up for Agatha. But as Jerry told me the other day, right? They found some theater kids like myself are into witches and singing, so they found an avenue. I think they made a joke in Secret Invasion or Falcon and Winter Soldier, probably. That is why Secret Wars needs to be a reboot. How is it that Marvel was willing to go a more comic accurate Sentry look, but want to do a female Silver Surfer? Crazy, right? And the Fantastic Four is 10 times more important than that movie. I will watch Ironheart and Wonder Man for sure. I just crave superhero projects. Facts. And
that absolute Superman suit is so sick. Bro. By the way, something I wanted to talk about that I forgot to mention from the chairs is that we knew the Fantastic Four was very important to Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. But now we know that the Thunderbolts is also very important to these movies as well. Because if a lot of that cast is going to be in Avengers Doomsday, which people didn't expect, it makes that movie much more important. And it seems like it won't just be Fantastic Four setting the groundwork down for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Thunderbolts will be doing that as well.
Yep. Jerry, I want to use the bathroom while you answer this.
Yeah.
Why does it matter if Silver Surfer is female? It's an alternate universe, and it does not mean we don't have Norrin in the 616.
You know what it doesn't mean, though? It doesn't mean we're getting Norrin in the 616. And it matters because it doesn't matter what universe it is. We haven't gotten Norrin. Norrin is the definitive, traditional, classic version of the character that fans are attached to and care about. So why are we getting Shalabal other than, well, diversity? Like, it's the only reason. And it's stupid because it's not in the interest of the fans. Fans care about Norrin Rad. No one really knows who Shalabal is. It's stupid. All right, next comment. Let's see. Where was he? Okay. Superherocuts. Zack Snyder Superman is New 52 Superman, and James Gunn Superman inspiration of All-Star Superman, or have you heard 1-2 Labor of Heracles? I have been hearing that it is, and I actually saw something on this today, that it's heavily inspired by All-Star Superman. And a lot of the images that we saw in the trailer seem to have been heavily inspired by All-Star Superman, especially the one of Superman and Lois flying in the air. I mean, that was like the ripped out of the comics. It was in a different setting because I think he was in space or something in the comics when that happened. But like the way he was holding her and everything, bro, that was out of the comics. So I think it's very heavily. By the way, you know what? I'm going to text you, Stevie, because there is something I sent you earlier, and I don't know if we're going to talk about it.
All right, bet. I think Doomsday will only be the MCU on Fox first, but the Secret Wars is when you have variants from other verses, like example, Toby, Spidey. Yeah, they're definitely going to use both, bro. Part of me scared, bro.
To talk about. Let's just wait for the trailer.
Yeah. Part of me scared. Yeah, with that DCU page getting taken down, it's kind of got me a little shit. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not even an F4 guy, and even I know they should have went with the male Silver Surfer because regardless of what you think, it was going to be a controversial decision, and Marvel can afford to.
And by the way, the day we found out, it was number 4 trending for like literally over 48 hours.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it was the bad move. Fans like and care and love Norrin Rad. Nobody cares about Shalabal.
Yeah, because like this isn't like people think that this is like Aaron Pierre, and people were mad that he's light skinned. It's not that, guys.
Yeah,
like it's a whole different situation.
And it makes me think you're caping when you try to defend it because it's a dumb decision, and there is no solid argument in defense of it. So it makes me think that you're just caping for it because you are like, we need more diversity.
Yeah. I do, bro. I do think that some people really don't care though. Like I genuinely do think that some people don't care because they don't see the Silver Surfer as of importance like a lot of other people do.
Yeah, but if you care about Marvel, you should want them to not make bad decisions that are going to piss fans off when they're in such a shitty position to begin with.
True. But at some point, people gotta be okay with different things Marvel trying. But there is a difference between lore killing and trying something.
Yeah, and there's difference, and it's also different when this isn't trying something different. They've been doing all this gender stuff for so long. It's a gender swap is not different or unique.
Even if writing is good, Marvel Studios is going to have an uphill battle with trying to create new stories, so audiences can connect to. I do not agree with that.
Yeah, and also they are taking inspiration from the comics.
Yeah, I do not agree with that at all. Like if the story is good, people will show up. People are going to show up regardless, but if the story is good, it will get a lot of love. Could Sentry somehow cause the incursion? Probably not. Probably not. It's going to have to be something with Monica Rambeau being on the other Earth. No, I've heard of theories. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we're on the same page. All right. Now let's get into some of the Superman promo for CinemaCon. I'm about to share my screen here with you guys for a second with some of these photos here. Pull up my present this 1 second. Family. Here we go. Do you see this here, brother?
Yeah, let me.
Perfect. Okay, so here's some of the Superman promo that we have seen right here. So here's one photo here of this is the Fortress of Sato. It looks very, very small in this, but anyway, it's probably small for the image. And the Superman is flying outside of it. We also see another image right here of David Cornswell Superman. By the way, bro, didn't know dude's eyes was this blue. Pause. But this is a photo of him flying with the cape. Love the cape. By the way, man, you come on, really the bulge? You gotta chill with that. Then we have a photo of Superman in all blue with the red S, and then Metropolis is sitting under here. And then we have another image of just David Cornsweat kind of like in the sky with the Superman look. So how did you feel about these promo for photos?
It looks like the way Batman Forever looks on Max. Not in the bad way. The bottom right one. I mean, it looks exactly like that.
Oh yeah.
But I will say, I don't like these photos. I don't like. I think they look cheap. I think the underwear over pants looks horrible. The bulge, like, it's crazy that made it this far. It's the best one is the bottom left, and that's crazy. I don't think the photos themselves, like the one on the top right, could probably look better, but like against that white, it makes it look cheap. I would have just used like Space Horizon or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really, bro, the way the underwear over pants looks on the top left one is so bad.
So I liked some of them, didn't like all of them. And you and I have talked about this a lot, and I told you that, like, I do think this rollout has been very messy. But I want to really dig into the suit, because seeing this has really changed my opinion. And I really regret making that one video that did like 600 on TikTok, because I've been getting hell for it for the past like 2 weeks. But it's fine,
Who's giving you hell?
Huh?
Who's giving you hell?
Oh, all of the people in the chat, because I thought the suit was a certain way. In that first
chat or on in the comments?
In the comments, because I thought the suit looked one way. Like, don't you know that original one that's like the best?
It looks like more form fitting, and now it
yes.
doesn't.
And now I'm getting hell about, which I deserve it. It's whatever. I think it's funny. You know what I mean? It's funny. But anyway, so it is a good look at Superman's suit, but I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the thickness of the suit. And the suit reminds me of two suits. It first off reminds me of Captain America's suit in Avengers Age of Ultron. And when I say Age of Ultron, is because Steve Rogers, Captain America, had a really thicker suit. You know what I mean? And the reason why he had a thick suit was because he was in the cold. You know what I mean? So, and because the movie's kind of sort of during the cold time. But anyways, and so, but with Captain America, the thicker suit works because Captain America is a tactical character. You know what I mean? And
it's like an army fatigue.
Exactly. And the way that it fit, it was able to show Chris Evans' physique. And even if we're going to get deeper, they definitely took inspiration for this suit from Jason, from the Aquaman suit, because the Aquaman suit is just like this, as in the thickness of the actual suit. But again, Jason Momoa's physique shined through that Aquaman suit, which made it fit so well. And they also utilized CGI in his shoulders as well. So with Superman, and if you watch the shows on the animated show, even in the final suit of Superman and Lois, even though it's fake, even though this is kind of fake or whatever, one thing that shows through the costumes of Superman is his physique. And one of the things that I always thought about, because guys, I work out in the gym. I'm not husky, but I maintain. I don't think they gave David Cornswell enough time to actually bulk, to actually get husky for Superman. And this suit shows that. You know what I mean? Like, he probably put on muscle, but like, he didn't put on enough, because his physique should be showing through this costume. And it's either because the suit is too thick, number one, or number two, he just didn't put on enough. Now, I will say this. I do love the cape. I think the cape is awesome. And I love the yellow S on the back as well. But yeah, man. And another reason maybe they just don't have the bread to, make another suit or whatever. But, like the suit is not a make it or break it for me, because it's not that bad. But seeing it up close really just wasn't what I thought it was, bro. It wasn't what I thought it was at all. And I don't think it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy costume, but it just wasn't what I expected.
So I'm gonna send you a photo because I remember this.
Let me
It
see.
hit the internet, and everyone was talking about how bulked up he got. And it's interesting for me that this suit doesn't matter to you so much because you're crazy over suits.
So this is my wait. Let me just see the picture. And bro, and like just being real,
Up to 230.
and bro, just being real, like that don't like. I hate using his name because people want to start thinking I'm like Snyder Cult, but like this is, but this to me looks lean. I need Superman to be like bulky. You know what I mean? Like Superman's supposed to be kind of like this, not like this. You know what I mean? Like Corn Sweat looks lean husky, where I need Superman to be a little wider. Like because Henry Cavill Superman, which I think is the perfect example of Superman, he wasn't a lean bulker. He was bulky. You know what I mean? And with Superman, like that's kind of his character. He's a big, bulky guy. You know what I mean? So I'm not the biggest fan of the look. And look. I am the costume connoisseur. But the thing is, like with the costume, it's not bad enough to where it's taking me out of the film. But that's only from one trailer that we've seen. So you know what I mean? Like I just have to see it more in action to see if I hate it or not. Because like in actual movement, I don't hate it. You know, like in actual movement, it's just these photos are so bad, bro.
Yeah.
Like so like because like when I watched the trailer, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, I just I don't know how these photos ever hit the internet, bro.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I mean, dude, like there's AI art that's 10 times better than this stuff, bro.
Yeah, the fan made art looks better too.
Yeah.
Like
And this is
what also bothers me about this movie is you say anything in support of something that has to do with this movie, you're like there's half the people that are like, oh, you're like, take gun out of your mouth, like, and then the other people are like, oh, you're a Snyder cultist. Like, is it that rare that someone is just real with you? Like, is that never seen anymore? Jesus Christ. I think the movie's going to be good. It fucking better be. But I don't know what is going on because these photos they're just bad. Like, and there's something about it too with Superman. Superman is the most iconic superhero. And a lot of that I think comes down to the name, the costume, and obviously the legacy and the stories. But the name and the costume is a big part of it. And you have to meet that moment. And it seems these pictures don't meet that moment.
100%, bro. 100%. And it's like it just, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
It's ridiculous because
you know how much is on the line. That's what bothers me about it. Like,
it's bro. And this is the same company that works with the likenesses of Game of Thrones. They work with the likenesses of Lord of the Rings, where or not, but you know what I'm saying. Like they work with these bigger companies to where, and even WB's content, like we've never seen a miss like this when it comes to promo. I'm like, bro, with BVS, bro, that promo was freaking insane, bro.
Yeah, and that logo was so sick. Like the posters, the red logo on like the Dark Knight's reign, it was so sick. And I think it's a little different because I think like us comic book fans are online on Twitter, and Game of Thrones, I don't think was like that. But at the same time, I lived in New York City during like the Game of Thrones heyday, and you would see their ads everywhere, and they look insane, bro.
Yeah, bro.
I even know who the Night King is just because of those ads, and like at the second it started to get cold out, you would see winter is coming like everywhere. I don't watch the show, bro.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it bothers me because James Gunn knows how much is riding on this movie. I will say, and I don't know why I should have just went hard on the kid, but I guess I cut him some slack unintentionally. But someone was like, in 18 months, we're going to be talking about David Zaslav tapping someone new as the head of DC Studios. And it's like, bro, you don't even get it. Like, if this doesn't work out, that's it. Like, DC
DOA.
is damaged goods, dead on arrival.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the part, bro, that just stresses me out with this is because, like, at the expense of bad movies, we expect the promo to be fire. Like, if this movie was trash, right, I expect the promos to be fire. And it's just
promo is much easier than the movie. Well, like,
because you're just giving you could take all the best scenes out of the film and just throw them in the trailer. I mean, we've seen that happen 1,000 times.
Yeah,
and it's
I also am like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased on this, so I'm going to try not to be. And I try to think about like it the other way, but I don't think Superman was the right character to choose for the first movie. I think they should have went with Green Lantern. I really do. Because, yeah, at the same time, like, Superman's got the big name, so he's got a lot of hype around it. But I think Green Lantern is way cooler, and I think he would have won more, like, purist fans over. But we'll see. I mean, you know, Superman could come out and be, like, an amazing movie and hit, like, 800 mil at the box office, and it'll be like, okay, you made the right move. So, you know, I don't know. I go back and forth with that. Because sometimes I do think it might be Superman, might be the right move. You know, but they could have done Batman, like, and Batman, you could have hit that 800 mil. And, you know, I think Batman's much cooler too. So
I agree. I think they should do Brave and the Bold. Yeah. You gotta come out with fire. You introduced the Bat family off the rip. You introduce us to Robin, Nightwing, all of these characters. I think that's one of the best ways to kickstart the U. And the Superman with cameos and Batman, then we get a Superman film. I think that's like probably the perfect way to start it. And I also think that like with Superman, the Henry Cavill baggage is just a lot, you know, and that's something you also have to consider as well. So given that time frame, I think it would have helped. And look, like regardless of what people complain about Batman, like look, people complain about Pattinson, movie still did 700 million. You know what I'm saying? So you know, you can really.
Pattinson won most people over. Like, it's rare you see someone knock on Pattinson.
Oh heck yeah. But like people were hating though. You know what I'm saying? And but you know, people end up showing up, and you could really, you can hit Batman as well. Go ahead.
I do think this movie is going to be good. I think it's going to deliver. I did see something on it today where they were saying that like people are loving this movie. You know, don't believe the news out there. Like a lot of people are really enjoying this movie, and like people are going to love it. That I have seen a couple times in a couple different variations. And aside from the critiques we may have about the rollout, we can't argue with the results of the trailer. There is a ton of hype for this movie, and James Gunn has never, ever dropped an L. I will say I did hear something last week, unconfirmed, that came through.
Confirmed.
Unconfirmed.
Spider-Verse 2027.
Oh, wow. Well, real quick, I was going to say, I heard something unconfirmed about Superman being, you know what? I'm not even going to say it because I don't even think it's true. So whatever. Let's just get into Spider-Verse.
Okay. Let me type it first. 1 second. Wait, what were you about to say about Superman?
Well, I don't want to say it because I don't think it's true.
Okay. I had one more thought about.
I told you already, but I'll text you offline.
The plot. Okay.
Yeah, the one, not the one I heard this week. The one I heard last week.
Okay.
Completely different from the one I heard this week, which is another reason I thought it was fake. And the reason I don't want to tell you guys is because it sounded so bad that like the thought of it in the back of your head will make you less excited for this movie. Put it that way.
Facts.
And it's not real anyway.
Good. Okay, we're gonna read some chats real quick. Let's see. Sup, my fellow nerds. What's up, Jalen? How you doing, bro?
What's up, Jalen?
Yay, I'm on time for Superman Cowboy. You were. Looks magnificent. I love it. Underwear forever.
Well, I'm glad you guys like it. I'll tell you, I think it's a far cry from the absolutes. I think the absolute Superman suit is the best Superman suit of all time.
That suit is gas, bro. With the freaking glowing wrist things. Oh my gosh. Because people on the internet are saying the tone of Superman is silly, and did James Gunn say it's a mix of both? So why do people think it's wrong that some of Superman is silly? Because Clark Kent is a nut. Like there's there's going to be elements where Clark Kent, it's where there's elements where he's going to do dumb stuff. Like that's the point of his.
I don't think it's silly. I think that there are a lot of people that like don't know how to describe things properly, and they have seen Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker, so they're like, oh, well, it was a James Gunn movie, so it was like kind of silly, and they're just not really good at describing things. And I think it's not doing, I think it makes them look stupid, and I don't think it's an accurate assessment because most people just don't have a good vocabulary, and it really shows when they try to describe something.
That's a really great point, bro. Actually, a really great point.
Thank you.
I'm extremely curious to know your answer to this. I saw your comment about bats appearing in soups. I don't know how long it. We have a topic on that. Give us a couple of minutes, and we'll talk about that.
We should do it right now and then get the Spider-Verse. I feel like
bet.
While we're still on DC.
All right, bet. But it was fake muscle padding. Which suit we talking about? I think he's going to get a second suit mate in the movie that's a bit thinner, probably more form fitting. I've heard rumors that that's probably not going to happen.
I will say I was just looking at pictures of Henry Cavill. But I was looking at pictures of him, and I was looking at the picture that I sent you of David Cornsweet at 230, like beefed up.
Yeah.
And I will say, bro, Cornsweet looks significantly bigger than Henry Cavill.
Well, he is like 6'4", bro. He tall, bro.
No, but I'm not. I'm talking the picture I sent you, and then look, you're gonna see this one, and you're gonna remember it because it was from the movie. And you can show it to everyone. But, bro, like, when you look at those pictures, Cornsweet is 100% bigger than Cavill.
I don't know, man. Cavill is big, bro.
Bro, look at his arms.
Yeah, but Cavill got the chest. All right. I ain't talking about his body like this, pause. But Cavill got the chest, the definition, bro. Like, it's certain.
Yeah, well, you can't see Cornsweet because he's got the shirt.
Yeah. Modest man.
Yeah, he's trying to be modest.
James Gunn's Superman is going to have support from critics and audiences. My only concern is going to be Sonic 3. Sonic 3 is going to make money, bro. Trust. Kevin, I think you should compare the summer blockbuster cluster F we have coming would be Moana 2, Gladiator 2, and Wicked. The Snyder fans are going to clip this, Jerry, and put it on the internet and be like, see, this is why they need to restore the Snyderverse. If they do, we will wage war. Trust me, bro. Sonic 3.
Don't say that because we don't want to intimidate them. Please.
Oh, yeah, facts. Do it. Yeah, do it. Please. Sonic 3 only made $486 million at the box office. It had all the support from critics and audiences. It still couldn't crack top 10 at box office. I mean, are you expecting Sonic 3 to do $1 billion, bro? Like, come on. The Superman discourse is still crazy to this day. Yeah, man. Audiences haven't showed up and support these films at the box office. Even if Superman writing is good or not, or good is not going to change at all. Disagree, bro. Superman. What was the last Superman film we've had? What, Man of Steel that did 600 mil, something like that. Yeah, as excited as I am for Superman, the picks are bad. Gunn, I believe in you, and I'm there for Superman day one, but Gunn realistically should have changed the suit to something most of the fans like. All right. I'm going to read a few of these more, and then we got to get to the next topic. I think people are growing to custom. I think people are growing to the custom so far, but again, it's a huge mixed bag feeling of where it's not bad, but not elite. Hey, that is a great point. It's not bad, bro, but it's not like elite. That's a great point. It's crazy that from a casual perspective, this is just another Superman movie, but for DC fans, everything is on the line. Yeah, it's pretty much being a fan. Batman and Robin should have been the first DCU movie. Robin alone would have gotten casuals to be like, what, Robin? Exactly. Please, for the love of God, no more Batman being the forefront like DC needs to use for the other heroes. That's just not, that's wrong, bro. Wrong thinking. Hell, maybe they should start with Wonder Woman. Okay, next topic. Bro's talking crazy here. All right, let's talk about some Batman cameo. So, there was a rumor going out that Batman is going to cameo at the end of Superman. Jerry, how do you feel about Batman possibly being at the end of this movie?
I think it would be a good thing. I do, because it will boost the box office and get people more excited for the DCU, and that's exactly what they need right now. At first, I was like, don't overcomplicate things. They don't really need to do it. Now, the more I think about it, 100% do it. Pull out all the stops. You need it.
I agree, bro. I think that having Batman is amazing. Number one, bro, it's going to break the freaking internet. We obviously know that. And I also think that this is going to get people through Supergirl. This is going to, like, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to be honest, man. Like, I think Supergirl is going to be a good movie, but this is a big risk on his part to make this a second movie that you were doing. And if Green Lantern as well, hopefully Supergirl can carry that momentum. Now I will say this though, bro. If Batman is in this movie, do not announce him at Comic-Con. Just keep it on the down low and let us see it in the movie. Let us be surprised when we see it, you know? Like, I don't want them to do an announcement or anything. Just have Batman pop up. Do you agree or no?
You know, I think it needs to be a little, like, substantive, but not too much. I don't think it needs to be like just a flash on the screen cameo, but I don't think it should be something that is relatively significant to the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you don't care if they don't announce it at Comic-Con and then we just see it in the movie, right? Because I don't want them to even announce it. Like, keep it on the down low so when we watch the movie, it's like a big surprise. Kind of like how they did with Black Adam when Superman just popped up.
Yeah. I don't know, because Black Adam didn't do that well. And
true.
Maybe, like, if they think it's going to be better for the box office to announce it at Comic-Con, announce it at Comic-Con. That's what I care about.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about this. This just dropped. Okay, so Beyond the Spider-Verse will release in 2027. This is a direct announcement from Sony. Because I know you're a big Spider-Verse fan, so how do you feel about them finally having a date for when this thing is going to drop?
Oh, dude, I can't wait, man. The last Spider-Verse movie blew my mind. That it was so good. I can't wait for the next one. So I knew it was coming, though. Like, people were like, "Oh, that movie's never coming." Like, bro, it happens. Movies get delayed. You know, trust me, they're not just gonna pass up on making the third one after how successful the first.
Oh my God! First look at Miles Morales. Hold on, let me pull this up.
Live action?
No, animated. First look at Miles Morales and Beyond the Spider-Verse. About to pull it up for you guys. Saving the picture real quick. It's nothing crazy, but it still looks cool though. All right. So here's the first look at Miles Morales in Beyond the Spider-Verse. So this looks like this is right after he got captured by his variant, who is the Prowler. That's what it looks like. So it's good to know that they're working on it.
I like want to flip my thing upside down.
Yeah, well, yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, wait. There's more images. Oh my god. Hold up. Hold on. What the frick? Wait. Okay. Now they're clicking. 1 second, y'all. Let's pull this down. What
Whoa.
the heck? You see it?
Yeah.
Bro. Here we go. First look. I press share. Here we go. First look, guys. Look at this image, Jerry. Oh my gosh. Bro. Look at this image. That's fire.
Bro. This movie is going to be.
Ooh, look at Gwen.
Yo. I need that shit right now.
Bro said, give it to me now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bro. They had. See, this is how you do. This is how you do it, bro. That's how you do it. Yeah, man. I'm sold. This is fire. This is fire. So yeah, as you see, this is Miles Morales. It looks like this might be on the Earth that he got captured by the Prowler on. And this is obviously the Prowler, Miles Morales' variant.
It looks like that Earth, which
Yeah.
looks straight out of the Earth. I think it was Earth 42,
Mhm.
which is where his spider came from. It looks straight out of the comics. There is a comic run. I think it's the one that started in 2018 for Miles Morales, and the cover is just the like buildings with the green windows, like straight out of that universe. I'm gonna try to pull it up. Yeah, bro, it's
Dude,
so
that's
cool.
actually crazy.
It's I love this whole thing so much.
Then we have another image of Miles in his Jordans, but he's fighting against his variant here. It's probably like all beginning scenes. And then we see Miles Morales and Gwen finally reuniting after all that's happened. They're kind of standing on this thing. They're definitely in New York.
Here, look, this is the one.
Let me see. Oh, dude, that's fire.
You know the scene I'm talking about.
That doesn't like it. Yep. That's fire. That's fire. So we also get a picture here, the last photo of Gwen and Miles kind of standing here. So no, man, this art is awesome. Shout out to, I forget their names, but they do a great job with the Spider-Verse stuff, man. So we can't wait for 2027. Man, seeing this art just makes me feel like, man, we gotta wait another 3 years, right? 3 years for this?
2027 is 2.
In 2 years? Okay, I can wait. Okay, 2 years. Man, they're cooking. They are cooking. So that was pretty awesome. I like it. All right. Now let's get to some other comments here, or some other. Let's see. It was what comments we have. Oh, look. Are you guys hype? Let's see. Finally, Sony. Gosh darn. I need Beyond now. If they don't give me a trailer right now, I'm riding. Here's my question. I don't know how long it takes to make a movie, but is Brave and the Bold a 2026 release date possible? Or is it impossible? I think it'll be very impossible because I don't even think a script is even done at this point, bro. Because that's James Gunn's rules, that the script has to be done first, then they start with all the other stuff. Oh, Lord. Oh, okay, Jalen. You think Holland, Toby, and Andrew and Spidey might be in this? I definitely think they will. Art is fire, facts. For the sake of hypothetical, let's say Holland Spidey is not in Doomsday. Maybe it's because Holland, Toby, Andrew, Spidey are in Beyond the Spider-Verse, and then they appear in Secret Wars. So here's what I heard. I heard someone say, if they can afford him. And if they can afford him means that they are still trying to negotiate with Tom Holland. And I don't necessarily think it's money, but I think the question is maybe like, because he's already signed to a contract to be in these films, but the question is what films, and maybe that's where they're trying to talk. I'm not sure.
He was also barely in Endgame, and they had like Captain America was barely in Infinity War. So I do, at first I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be in both. But I still kind of do I think they're going to figure it out because they need him. It's Spider-Man. It's not the Infinity Saga where they had all these other awesome characters. They're not in that situation. They're so desperate for characters that they're bringing everyone back. So they absolutely need Spider-Man.
100%. They need him. Okay. Now, I wanted to quickly talk about Haley Atwell, man. She ended up putting out a comment, which I thought was funny. She talked about really just her being used in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And it seems like she's not really happy with, what they did with her character, which is funny. So this is what she said. She said that her character, Captain Carter, she felt very undermined in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness because she got killed off so quickly. Question for you. Do you think that this is more of a ploy for her to get a spot on the Avengers roster, or do you think she's actually pissed off?
Well, I missed what you said. That I don't understand what she'd be pissed
sorry.
off.
So basically, Haley Atwell was talking about her role in Doctor Strange, and she felt like she was undermined, based on her character and her in general. Do you think that this is I just found it funny that she says this right when the Avengers Doomsday cast gets released. And I'm pretty sure this is what she was doing press for, because she's doing this tour with Tom Hiddleston, like a Broadway tour or whatever. And so does a part of you feel like it's impeccable timing that she would say this, or do you think she actually could be pissed off with the way her character was dealt with.
It could be. I just don't know her well enough
Yeah.
to make that call on reading between the lines in what she's saying.
Yeah.
But it could be.
Yeah.
Maybe, she's trying to get back on board. It would be like, listen, I don't really care about seeing her in these movies, but it would be odd considering how much they used her character throughout the Multiversal Saga. Even though most of it was in What If, she still was in a lot of What If and was in the Multiverse of Madness. But that movie sucked.
Exactly. And that's why I found it funny for her to say she was under mine, because she worked on the show and also she had a part in MOM. So I was like, how does that it makes sense? But I think she's trying to just get a job at this point. So we'll see. All right, next topic here. Bradley Cooper. Okay, Bradley Cooper is cast as Jor-El in Superman. And this came out, I think, a few days ago. So question, because you are in the city. Have you met him?
No, I'm not. And met who?
Have you met Bradley before?
Cooper?
Yeah.
Nah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought, it's Daniel Craig. Sorry.
Yeah, I met Daniel Craig, but
Daniel Craig.
that was in St. Bart's.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And look, and obviously, because since you're in Colorado, it's a little different over there.
Yeah.
But anyways, so how do you feel about Bradley Cooper being in this movie, being as Jor-El?
Being in Jor-El, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like, people like Bradley Cooper, so I think it's cool to have a well-known, familiar face on, this role. I don't think it's going to make or break anything, but I do think, like, in a father figure role, it helps to have a familiar, well-known, successful actor. Like, you want that in your supporting cast in a comic book movie. Liam Neeson was Ra's al Ghul. You had Russell Crowe was Jor-El in the Snyderverse. So I think it makes sense. J.K. Simmons is, why am I blanking on his name? Jameson. So, I think that's kind of like a battle-tested formula for comic book movies.
True. Yeah, dude. Like, so apparently, like, the internet is obsessed with him, like, being able to cook. And I saw that he opened up like a cheesesteak shop, and he opened up one in LA, and he also opened up one in New York.
Oh,
and my sister ended up going there. She said it's like pretty. It's actually not bad.
Food in New York looks so good.
100%. But anyways, I do have a theory though with this whole Jor-El stuff. So I think Bradley Cooper is great, and I think it's going to be a recurring role because Jor-El always appears as Superman in the Fortress type of thing. Now, I do think Brainiac is in this movie. I do think Brainiac is in Superman.
I love Brainiac.
Facts. And when I look at that robot that's in the last scene when he's hugging Lois Lane, it just has Brainiac written all over it.
Yeah.
And I do think that we can maybe see sub scenes of like Brainiac taking the form of Jor-El. Maybe Bradley Cooper's playing I would love for if like Bradley Cooper's Jor-El was the form for Brainiac, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind if it was something like that, to where like he's embodying someone that Superman knows and that he's close to.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. Like, listen, I like Lex Luthor a lot. I think Lex Luthor is a great villain, but Brainiac is super cool. And I think it would be cool to see Brainiac in this movie also.
100%, bro. I think that'd be super fun. Okay. Yeah. Now there's apparently more Spider-Verse details. Sorry, everything's just kind of dropping at once.
Yeah. All good.
Okay, so I want to pull up the Spider-Verse topic again. Okay. It is described as a massive finale. It features an entirely new animation style. It picks up immediately after the second film. It's bigger and bolder than the two previous film. And the entire team, they're working on new animation techniques that have never been done before.
Damn, bro. Okay, now before I was like, 2026. Now I need this shit like, yeah,
Yeah.
insane.
And now they're showing us why they're taking so long to freaking do it. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. I thought that too. Like, I figured it was, bro. These guys are like super talented, creative geniuses. They're not just like, oh yeah, it's a good idea, we'll go with it.
Yeah. And you called it because remember when I was like mad about it and you were like, bro, like they're doing something crazy.
Yeah.
So you called it. The rumor is that the Ultraman you see in the Superman trailer is actually a clone of Superman that turns into Bizarro. I heard that rumor that he is a clone.
I heard that. I didn't hear the Bizarro piece, but I did hear the other portion of it.
I'm tired of seeing Captain Carter in different multiverses. Peggy was never that important. It's the equivalent to seeing a variant of Uncle Ben Spidey constantly in different universes, or even seeing a variant of like Pepper Potts. It's like, bro, come on, dog. Okay. Now, next topic here, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about Marvel Studios putting their projects on hold. So this is like kind of good news, actually, which this thing should have happened. I don't understand why Ironheart isn't on this, but topic for another day. So, it says this. Number one, the Blade film is on hold, but Nova and Midnight Suns and other projects unrelated to the Multiverse Saga are on hold until after Avengers Secret Wars. So obviously, bro, like for someone that has common sense, this makes sense that obviously these films are on hold. So do you think that coming out of Secret Wars, right, they should automatically go into these movies like do you think Blade is a movie that they should go right into following Secret Wars, like with the X-Men and the F4 and all that stuff?
No, I think that they should do an X-Men movie. As much as I would love to see Fantastic Four, like if the Mutant Saga, if it's going to be the Mutant Saga, you need to establish the mutants and what make the universe feel connected from the jump, because people were craving for any kind of connectivity throughout the Multiversal Saga. The only post-credit scene that like even means anything now is the one from the Marvels, and that we can't have that problem again. So I think they need to go straight into the mutants.
That's a fair take. That's a very fair take. And you just swayed me over. You swayed me because and honestly, bro, like having a movie like Blade, if it's super dark and violent, it's going to be a good because obviously they're going to get into a Fantastic Four 2 and an X-Men. Getting like a solo movie where he's doing his own thing is going to line up with the Punisher and the Devil stuff that they're doing as well, And I think that what they are going to see following this whole multiverse tobacco is that them focusing on solo stories that are good, but when we need these guys to be a part of the larger story, they can. I think that's going to really help the MCU. I
think they should do more to flesh out the New York City street level universe. Like, do more Daredevil, do more Punisher, and bring in Moon Knight and make that like a real universe. And you could do crossover event movies within that universe while also doing the Mutant Saga. When hold on. What the hell is this comic name that I'm thinking about? It's the big one. Annihilation. Okay. So when Marvel was doing their big Civil War event, the original one in the 2000s, the one the MCU movie is based on, they also did another major event, and it's called Annihilation. It's awesome. You should check it out. Read Civil War first, though. It's way cooler. Not that you have to read it to understand it, but my point is that both it took place at the exact same time, and they had nothing to do with each other. And you could do that in the MCU, and that was always my ambition and aspiration for the MCU during the Multiversal Saga. And they didn't even try. They were just making these movies that had nothing to do with each other, but there was no story being pushed forward at all. And say they have a mutant saga and there's an X-Men crossover movie. I think there would need to be some more connectivity than there would be from the Civil War and Annihilation that exists in space. But you could talk about the X-Men movie or the conflict in the X-Men movie in your Punisher and Daredevil movie or special event, whatever. But they don't necessarily have to involve each other and cross over from those movies or those stories, but just acknowledge their existence kind of thing. And I think that would be really cool. And I hope to see that and I think it's going to be more important for the Mutant Saga, because when the Mutant Saga comes, we're still going to have the Avengers. We're still going to have the Fantastic Four. And I don't think I don't think everything in the Avengers and Fantastic Four's worlds need to necessarily revolve around the mutants. But, when you're doing something like, House of M or something like that, like that's a different story. Yeah. But I think you get my point. I think that they need to have a universe where there's a main story being driven forward, but that doesn't mean there aren't other stories. Not every story has to. And I think that we've only seen two ends of the spectrum and nothing in between. We've seen the Infinity Saga where basically everything is intertwined. And then we've seen the Multiversal Saga where nothing's connected at all.
You just dropped a bomb. Now I'm just processing what you said. Sorry, bro. You just dropped a bomb. I'm just thinking about that. That's a really good point. God, bro. I don't know how you think about this stuff so fast. Wow, that's a really good point. I'm going to clip that for the clips. Wow. That just opened up my mind to a lot of ideas now. I'm
a guy who's always saying, I don't want to write stories. Okay.
Yeah, because
if I was posting my theories on Twitter like some of you clowns, I would probably go a lot further with them. I'll tell you that.
Because with that thought, right, it frees directors to tell like stories that can be very direct to the world it's in. But it also gives them room to where, like, if you need to snag them for Avengers or whatever, like, you know what I mean? You can snag them and it won't seem so unrealistic, because, like, I think that is one of the problems with Pattinson's Batman, right? Is like, you really can't snag Pattinson and put him in the DCU. Like, I'm saying, like, from direct, like, Pattinson now to the DCU now, because it wouldn't make sense, right? Because of the way that his character is so realistic. So that is a very... And I guess they're testing that with Daredevil Born Again. Obviously, that's the testing. Do you think Punisher? Sorry, go ahead.
Like, I mean, where does Daredevil have a place in a movie like Days of Future Past, or So I think they're going to have to think about it a little differently.
True. It's a fair point, and that's where. They're really going to have to go.
As an example, I sometimes I think things are obvious, but I'm going to try bringing down my thoughts a little further, even on the things I think are obvious, just so they're more accessible to everyone.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a really good thought though, bro, because that, number one, expands the range of projects that they can make. But the problem has always been, the problem right now is like, they're making a range of projects, but they're just not good. And a part of that maybe
good and they're not connected.
Exactly. And as I said, this isn't a cape for anybody, like, because they are wrong for what that they've done. But like, a part of working on the corny characters could be because Feige's scared to take chances on the bigger ones for these shows as well. But given your point of like, yo, let's tell these stories based on the story that it's in. And then we have bigger stories you adapt. Like, it definitely makes sense. And it definitely isn't rocket science. So it's a great point. Okay. So next thing for us here, Chameleon. Are you a Chameleon guy or what?
He's all right. Like, I don't think he's the right call for the villain of Spider-Man 4 at all. I don't hate him the way I hate Mr. Freeze. But I probably would if people were all like, "Oh, Chameleon should be the villain." I would get pissed.
Yeah, So the way that I've always viewed street level, because I mean, if you are going with Chameleon, it's going to be a street level film, is that we obviously saw some of them in Craven, but it was kind of he was kind of like a nut. But I agree with you. I don't think this guy can be the main villain at all. And I do think that with Spider-Man, you have to take a Batman / Superman approach. And I think you really have to take that same approach with all of with those three heroes, as you have to have more than one villain when you do street level with these heroes. Because I don't want to say street. Whenever you do a movie with Spider-Man, Batman, or Superman, you have to have more than one bad guy, because they're just so powerful characters that they can really like cook really fast.
Well, not necessarily. And Spider-Man: Homecoming only had one villain.
Yeah, but that also works because Spider-Man is super like inexperienced. But like this version of Spider-Man that we are about to get, I think he's about to be like in his prime of like being a savage and just taking people out.
Who was the second villain in Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock?
Huh? Yeah, there wasn't.
Yeah, so I don't agree with that.
So I do agree. Or sorry, I think that with the look, dang, I just cooked my own self. You are right. Well, let me say this. I think that with MCU Spider-Man, I don't really think there's like unless if you want to rehash the big guys like Doc Ock, Green Goblin, etc. With the people that they're trying to pull from now, it looks like you can't use just one bad guy. And I think that like if you if there's rumors of bringing back a freaking Shocker or any of these guys, you can't just have them be like a one-off villain, or even Scorpion. Like you can't have Scorpion be the main villain of a story and think that's going to compel fans. Like I like that. I like that idea of having
Moreland and Ezekiel. They should do Moreland and Ezekiel. That would be
cool. That'd be cool. Yeah. So let me rephrase my point here, because I really sounded like an inferior just now. Let me do this. I do think that there are some characters that you can make them the main villain for Spider-Man, but I do think if you're walking into this new era of Spider-Man, as they say, I would love the idea of having multiple villains in the story to where Spider-Man's kind of fighting against like a bunch of different people.
I think that's where a lot of the Spider-Man movies went wrong.
Really? Why?
Well, people complained about TASM, Spider-Man 2. People complained about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. It seems like the Spider-Man movies that have one big bad villain are the ones that everyone kind of universally loves, other than
Far From Home,
Beyond the Spider-Verse 2, because Spider-Verse 2 technically has Spot, and Spider-Man 2099 is both of its villains. But Spider-Man 3 had Venom and Hobgoblin. And who else was in it? Was there another one?
Spider-Man 3 had Hobby. They had Rhino in the end, or Rhino in the beginning and end.
You're talking about TASM 2. Spider-Man 3 had Venom.
Oh, you're talking about Toby Spider-Man.
Well, I'm talking about both. But to do Spider-Man 3 first,
Toby and Sandman. Yeah, Sandman.
Venom, Sandman, and Hobgoblin. That's 3. And then TASM 2, you had Electro. And you had who was the other villain of TASM 2?
And Goblin.
Yes, exactly. So I think you could do a singular villain. I think that maybe they have to bring a villain from but use one of the same villains that they used in the SSMU. I think they might not want to do that, and that might be part of the issue. But I still think there are good Spider-Man villains to choose from, and I don't like. There's a couple, but Chameleon's a bad call. Like that's a bad move. But they're not above making bad moves. That's what I keep saying. That it's like they're doing Shalabal instead of Norn Rad. Female Silver Surfer. They didn't recast T'Challa. They used Mysterio, which Mysterio's all right, but Far From Home, it's good. It's not great. So they make bad decisions there. That's just what they do now.
They also didn't use Mysterio in his truest form. Like there was no magic. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
it
It was all tech magic.
and then you link him to Tony Stark. It's like, come on, dog.
Yeah.
That's whack, bro. That's so whack. So yeah, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Chameleon is not the move. But if he's one of many, I don't really have a problem with that. But I do wonder why fans don't like having multiple villains because I love like, and I do think the Batman probably does it in darn near the most perfect way where you have multiple bad guys kind of happening, and then you can get the Penguin show, which kind of like the icing on the cake because you see the rise of another bad guy. That's interesting. Oh gosh, fandom is so crazy. That is crazy to me. I don't understand that because Spider-Man 3 isn't even that bad of a movie to me. Like I love Spider-Man 3. That's wild. Did you hate Spider-Man 3?
I didn't. I liked it, but most people, if you talk about Spider-Man 3, will tell you they don't like it.
It's weird, man. It's weird.
And a lot. I think that's the common complaint too, is that it had too much going on.
Yeah. Which is why, yeah. And it was the same thing with TASM 2, right? I mean, I didn't like TASM 2 either, but a lot of people didn't like TASM 2. And now all of a sudden, TASM 2 is like one of the greatest Spider-Man films of all time. I'll never understand it, bro. I'll never understand it. Okay. Sorry. I'm just sorry. You just dropped a lot of bombs, so I'm just processing what you said. Sorry, guys. I know this is a podcast. Okay. Now, I do want to talk about Tom Hardy Venom because he ended up talking about a possible crossover between him and Spider-Man almost happened. So this is what Tom Hardy said. He said, or let me read it. Tom Hardy says a crossover between Spider-Man and Venom got close to happening, but studio politics prevented it. And he said, I would have loved to have done it because that just means so much fun. So do you think that a Tom Hardy Venom and a Peter Parker Spider-Man crossover would have blown the Venom movies up even more? Or do you think it would have kind of done the same kind of downhill spiral?
It's tough because a while ago, I think I would have said it would have blew it up. But I think a lot of damage has been done in between the time that I would have said that. And I think it's a tough call to say. And I think that, but I also think Marvel making this decision isn't necessarily just based on that. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't want to, because if Marvel were to say, yes, we're going to bring in Tom Hardy to play Venom, now they're giving credit to the SSMU, and they don't want to do that.
That is true.
Yeah, because they can't be like, we love what you did with. The second they say we're going to use your Venom, they're saying we love what you did with Venom. Yeah, and they don't want to do that.
That does, and that has Feige written all over it. It does. Because
but at some point he was going to do it because they did have the post credits. They had the post credit of No Way Home include Tom Hardy's Venom, and they had the post credit of Venom 2 include Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So at some point that was the plan, 100%.
Yeah, and the question is, what happened for them not to do it?
And I think it was the rest of the movies flopping so badly that he's just like, I've had enough. This is insane.
Yeah. And I think it also could have been maybe even Tom Holland, because Tom Holland did say like he has been involved in changing the story too. So maybe he didn't want to go with Tom Hardy either. So who knows? Yeah. Who knows how it happened? But it is very interesting when you hear, some of these guys talk about this stuff behind the scenes. Is like, that's very interesting how that has happened, like behind the scenes, and you don't even know what's really going on, which could possibly even explain why Venom 3 flopped so hard, like in the film, because maybe they were expecting to get that crossover in that third film, and when they kind of were like, they kind of had to kind of maybe scramble and make a whole new film. Who knows?
Yeah,
because that movie does feel like a scramble. It's super weird on how this stuff happens. Has any more CinemaCon stuff dropped? I'm gonna check real quick. If anything else came out. Oh, so Spider-Verse comes out June 4th, 2024. Or sorry, 2027. That's crazy.
What was the date?
June 4th.
Okay.
And they're dropping and making another Jumanji with the Rock in them. To December 11th, 2026. Okay, so quick question. This kind of like just off of the dome right here. So do you think that the Spider-Verse coming out in 2027 is going to grow the brand or hurt it? Like, do you think this hurts the fans at all that we have to wait this long to where this could be like one of those films where it's like, yo, like this should have came out like years ago? Or
No,
like,
I
do you
think
the hype's
this
gonna
movie is so big that it's like too big to fail.
Okay, yeah, because like there are some of these films where it's like, yo, like we waited like freaking 4 years for it, and now here it is.
Yeah.
Kind of my fears about it, but
Nah, people are so hyped over this movie, bro. Like it's gonna be fine.
All right, good. Okay. All right. Let me see what else we got here. Okay. Now I wanted to do this quick villain thing with you real fast. Let me pull this up because I thought it was funny. Because I really wanted to see what villain you would fight, bro, if you were a certain character. Let me pull this up for you real quick. Here we go. 1 second. Okay, boom. Okay. Now, question for you, bro. Question for you. If you were, all right, choose any Marvel character of your choice. Go ahead.
I would say Magneto.
Okay, if you were Mags, which guy are you going to solo?
Thanos.
Why would you choose him over Doom?
Because the image of Doom ripping out Thanos' spine came to mind.
So you think that you think that Magneto so you think Mags has a chance of beating Thanos?
No.
Okay. But you would just go with that because you feel like Doom would just be unbeatable.
Yeah. I would have a better shot against Thanos.
For the fans that don't know, bro, can you just go into how powerful Dr. Doom actually is? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know how powerful he is.
Bro, Dr. Doom is like the most powerful. He is the king of science and he's the king of magic. Like he's just absolutely brutal. And on top of that, he is like the menacing savage that you need to be to push all of that way further than the edge, better than anyone else.
Okay, real fast. Give me your favorite Dr. Doom moment of all time in comics.
Ooh, this is tough, but I would probably say when he bailed on his girl because he was like, you were going to make me weak. Yeah, he was just like, I forget what comic it was. It was either in Mark Waid, Fantastic Four, in the Doom prologue, or it was in Books of Doom. I forget. But basically, he was like, I realized my love for you was going to make me weak and get in the way of me becoming who I need to be, so I can't be with you.
That's actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
And do you know what just happened now? Daniel Destin Cretton is now on stage talking about Spider-Man 4.
No way.
Yeah, so we got to stay live to see what happens.
Damn, that's crazy.
All right, well, let's hit these next slides as the news coming out. Okay. Now, this is the Serpent Society on our left, and we have the Court of Owls on our right. Choose your hero.
Court of Owls, bro.
No matter who. So you rather
who?
All right. I'll give you a hero.
Batman.
Okay. If you were Bats, which one would you solo?
I would do the Court of Owls because I know I've done them before, but I wouldn't be intimidated by the Serpent Society.
Okay, yeah. If you're Batman, okay. All right, now let me. I'm trying to think of a different character. Okay, so do you think that the Serpent Society has a chance at all at cooking Batman?
Uh,
Oh my God, Spider-Man 4 is titled Brand New Day. Oh my God.
no way.
Okay, screw this crap. Hold on, hold on, hold on.
That's crazy. I actually love it. I love it because I'll wait for the
What?
thing and then I'll tell you why I love it.
Hold on, y'all. What? What? Okay, Spider-Man
So
4, y'all. Oh my God.
the reason this is so good is because the ending of No Way Home
The
was
logo.
out of One More Day from the comics, and Brand New Day is the story directly after One More Day. So it is the perfect name, super comic accurate. Absolutely love it. Let's go.
And here is the logo.
Oh, wow. Looks great.
Bro. They are cooking, bro.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Damn, bro.
This is ridiculous, bro.
James Gunn
Oh,
can't even breathe with Superman.
yeah, screw Superman at this point, bro.
Yeah, bro.
What do you say about James Gunn can't even breathe?
Yeah, bro. They won't even give him a second to like relax. It's like everyone's talking about Superman for a second, and it's like boom, boom, boom.
RDJ's back. Now
Yeah.
next one, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Wow, bro. That's actually insane. And it comes out July 31st, 2026, bro. They not playing. They not playing, bro. Oh my gosh. Starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Sadie Sink. So they are cooking.
So Zendaya is in it.
Yep. And apparently Tom Holland appeared via a video to talk Spider-Man 4. So I can't wait to see that video and see what pops up here. So you like this?
I love it. I love it.
And isn't the title very like old school Spider-Man logo type? Like it's very, it feels like I'm watching like it's like very, it looks very old school.
You
In the
know,
way
it's
it's put up.
interesting because I was thinking about that logo recently because the logo, when the art style stopped being Romita Jr. for the JMS run, is when they started using this logo.
Really?
Yeah, it's on the JMS. It's on the second half of the run.
Yeah, it does look like it a little bit.
I'm pretty sure it's the exact same, bro. I'm gonna take a look right now, actually.
I'm checking, bro. If they are using that same exact logo, that is actually wild. Do you know what's so wild, bro? Like whenever I get into comics, bro, like the covers don't mean ish to me, bro. Like I usually don't look until like after I read. Like I'd be so locked in.
Man, I don't even give a shit. It's all about the story.
Exactly. Okay, I see. All right, I see what you're saying. Where it does resemble it a lot. Because I'm looking at these Amazing Spider-Mans. Yeah, it does look like
Bro, it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, I see it.
It's not just resemble, it's literally the same thing. It starts with issue 519.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, even now I'm looking at other Spider-Mans too. It even looks like these other ones too. That's cool, bro. They're cooking, bro. This fire. I'm so excited, bro.
Yeah, me too.
I am so excited. Man, we are in for a treat today. We are in for a treat, guys. All right, let's read what you guys are saying in the comments. To be fair, Spider-Verse 2027 makes seeing as how Spider-Man 4 will release in 2026. Yeah, we're getting two Spider-Man.
Bro, that's another thing I always said. They will make sure they have a Spider-Man movie to cover each year. Even with a gap, they'll do that because Spider-Man is the best managed IP in the game, and it's not even close.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I choose Cosmic Spider-Man against these guys. Awesome title for the first part of a new trilogy. Facts, bro. awesome title. Oh, you said that twice. Oh, this is going to destroy Supergirl. Yes, it will. Badly, bro.
Bad move doing that movie.
Yeah, come on. And Doomsday comes out too. Oh yeah, they're cooked. It's after Supergirl, almost like a month. Yeah, bro. James Gunn better put Green Lantern or some Woman of Tomorrow if he wants any chance of Supergirl not being heavily overshadowed by Spidey. Bro, okay, Lobo is doing nothing with regards to like trying to get people to sell the movie, bro. Come on, man. Like, I get it. Lobo's cool, but he is not. He has nothing to do with Spider-Man's popularity, bro.
Not even close.
Yeah, and I don't care who's acting in that role. Dang, bro. So questions about Spider-Man. I do want to spitball some quick ideas before we hop off here. So in regards to Spider-Man, do you have a thought process of where you want Spider-Man to be as a character?
Like in character development or location?
More as in the development of his character in general.
I think that he's come a long way, and he was able to make the hard decision to sacrifice major things that ended up like destroying his personal life to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And I would like to see him stay there and double down on being Spider-Man.
100%. I agree with the same thing. I've said this 1,000 times, bro. I want him to be obsessed, Like, yeah. I want him to be so into being Spider-Man that it's his driving force.
Yeah.
And obviously I want MJ to be around, but I really want him to make this like his number one, his number one thing.
I don't know if I want the MJ thing because, like, again, if they keep undoing the consequences of their big decisions, that's a problem.
True. Yeah, but I think that because her memory is lost, I can see them being friends. But I do want him to have a new love interest, though, for sure. Which is probably the role that Sadie Sink is playing.
But like, what's the point of them being friends? What purpose does that serve? Or we just to do it because she's in the movie and you got to figure out something.
Hey, it's Zendaya Coleman, bro. You know what I mean? That's probably their thought is like we have to find a way to bring her. And look, maybe Destin might have a way that we haven't thought about, but she has to serve some type of point if you're going to have her in this story.
Yeah, I think it would be better to not have her. Is my point. I think it's stupid.
But you know who also isn't announcing this? Ned. Ned ain't in this at all.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And it should be the same with MJ.
Yeah. Hopefully, and what I need, Brand, I need a Harry. I need a Harry announcement, man. I need it, bro. And also, Brand New Day is trending number 3 on X right now.
Yeah, that's gonna go to 1 real quick.
And guess whose tweet, of course, is up here?
Who?
Guess. Firing off the hip.
Don't mention the name because I don't want to give anyone the satisfaction that
firing off the hip.
But don't mention the name. I don't want to mention the name.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I'm just saying the hint.
Oh yeah. Of course. It's, yeah.
Yep. And here comes the theories.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. The Destin, he spoke again. He said, "We are in full prep for summer filming to start for Spider-Man." So this is awesome. So that must mean that the script is already done, that they've already got their costume designs and stuff done. So we might be in for a treat, bro, for Comic-Con, man.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So, all right, y'all. We're going to end the stream here tonight. We are going to be going live tomorrow because obviously Superman stuff is going on. We really want to cover that as well. Not going to be as long as this, but when the trailer drops, we're definitely going to go live and review it and talk about it and all that jazz and any other superhero news that might drop. We'll never talk about that. So, we are going to drop clips like ASAP. Like I'm definitely going to do some Brand New Day stuff because Jerry cooked on that, and we're definitely going to get some Spider-Verse stuff out tomorrow. So hope you guys have a great night. Stay crispy, y'all, and peace out.
Peace.